This is not yoga. Reaching your foot behind your head. And why most yoga studios don't teach it. Hold on. Hello my beautiful yogis, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Sonia and I'm a yoga teacher sharing my perspective on physical movement and spirituality in the context of the modern day. For everybody else, welcome back. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so that you don't miss the next video. Now, let's dive right in. A lot of people think that this is yoga. But this is not yoga in the traditional sense. Huh? So then what is yoga? Stick around till the end of this video to find out what it really is and why most yoga studios don't teach it. In short, yoga is a way of being. It's a state. It's not something you do. Actually, what most of the internet tells us is yoga is in fact the opposite. What? Let me explain. In ancient India, between the 2nd and the 4th century Common Era, there was a sage by the name of Patanjali. Now, Patanjali was said to have written several treatises, several books, one of which was about yoga, which is now referred to as the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. This text talks a lot about the philosophy of yoga. It outlines several of the practices and the theory, and talks very little about the poses, which are called asanas. It does outline several paths a yogi can take, as there are many ways to achieve the state of yoga. But more on that on a future video. For the sake of today's discussion, let's talk about the path most understood by people in the West, the 8-limbed path. The 8 limbs of yoga are 8 guidelines, if you will, to achieve the state of yoga. The first one, yama, are ethical standards and integrity. The second, niyama, discipline and spirituality. The third, asana, a seat for meditation. Hold a minute. Didn't I just say that asana were poses? I'll get to that in a second. Pranayama, breath control. Pratyahara, the withdrawal of the senses. Dharana, focus. Dhyana, focus for extended period of time, aka concentration or meditation. And the last one, samadhi, integration. Some people refer to it as the bliss state. According to the first part of this text, yoga is all about calming the fluctuations of the mind or the fluctuations of consciousness. It isn't about reaching your foot behind your head and contorting yourself in all sorts of positions. So then what is yoga? Okay, so far, it sounds like this is all just about meditation. So what does this all have to do with yoga? Well, remember when I was listing the 8 limbs, I said asana was a seat for meditation, not the crazy contortions that we think yoga is today. Back then, when this text was written, the asanas really only included several standing positions, but most of them were very easy seated postures, a seat for meditation. So asana was really just getting our bodies ready to sit for a long period of time so that we can meditate. What does this mean? Well, think about it. If what we're doing is not actually yoga, then why the heck are we folding ourselves into pretzels? And why does it feel so good afterwards? In order to answer this question, we have to go back in history, but not too far back. I'm talking about the age of B.K.S. Iyengar and Pattabhi Jois, both students of the great Krishnamacharya. This will make sense in just a second. So Pattabhi Jois and B.K.S. Iyengar started the movements of Ashtanga Yoga and Hatha Yoga, respectively. These are the 2 types of traditional yoga that we mostly experience when we go to yoga studios. Now, I'm not talking about yin and restorative here. I'm talking about these like vinyasa classes, these like higher intensity classes where you're moving and flowing. According to Stephen Cope, the author of one of my favorite memoirs, Yoga and the Path to the True Self, the union of Shiva and Shakti, which is the goal of Hatha Yoga, is accomplished when Shakti, pure energy located at the base of the spinal column, moves up through the central energy column in the area of the spine, called the Shushumana, and arrives at the crown, where Shiva is located at the top of the crown. So basically, the goal of yoga is to get that energy at the bottom of your spine to move up that central column to land at the crown of your head, which is said to be where your pure consciousness resides. So this meeting of these energy points can be quite intense, and it can be really disruptive in your life and actually quite painful if you're not ready for it. This is why in Hatha Yoga, we train the body. So these modern asanas prepare the body should this energy surge happen. So let's ask this question again. Is this yoga? In the traditional sense, no. But remember, these were the ages before technology. Before us Homo sapiens were mostly hunched over a laptop in this posture for 8 hours a day, sedentary, having food at our fingertips, not having to go out and farm, not having to go out and hunt our food ourselves. For that ancient yogi, that was enough. Those couple of standing postures and seated postures were enough to get them ready, to get their bodies ready for meditation. But for modern day people, that's not realistic. We need these modern day asanas to counteract the effects of sitting at your computer, crunched over like this for 8 hours a day, and then sitting in front of your TV and sitting in your car, driving to and from work. Who knows what else you're doing? So according to me, this is yoga. Modern day people need more vigorous exercise to counteract the effects of our modern day life. See, it's all about balance. Now, putting your leg behind your head and balancing on one arm, is that yoga? Is that necessary? For some people, yes. Probably not. If you're at home and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I can never get into these postures, don't worry about it. That doesn't make you less of a yogi if you can't cross your legs behind your head. So why don't most yoga studios talk about these other aspects of yoga? Well, it's mostly because people are just not interested. They're more interested in the physical aspect. They're more interested in getting a six-pack. But that's a shame, because yoga is such a holistic practice that if you practice these various parts of it, you will just generally be a better functioning human. I can certainly attest to that. If you want to get a more holistic experience of yoga, not just the asanas, where do you start? Meditation, my friend. This is the simplest yet most effective way of getting to know the true self, calming the fluctuations of the mind, and really getting in touch with your own energy. I have a short 10-minute guided meditation that I'll link down below and somewhere up here that you can follow along with. To summarize, yoga is the calming of fluctuations of the mind, and it's not just movements and poses, although that's part of it. It's more so about the ethics, discipline, meditation, and focus that you cultivate during your practice, not about striking a pose for Instagram or selling a million pairs of yoga leggings. It's about moving the energy up the body rather than getting a six-pack or following a fitness trend. If you like this video and would like to learn a little bit more about yoga and the philosophy and the theory behind it, please give it a thumbs up so that I know to make more. And if you learned something new, I'd appreciate you leaving a comment down below so that we can all share the knowledge. As always, I'd appreciate you hitting that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you know when these videos come out. I try to upload every Wednesday, so I'll see you here next week. Namaste. Is this yoga? Do you know what yoga is? What is yoga? What is life?